All right, folks, welcome to the end of the 2021-2022 school year, which means this is the spring 2022 briefing for fall tennis. We're already talking about a new year. Again, Zach Cintron, Katie here, and we're going to roll through this. I will preface it, a lot of the stuff is still the same. One decently major tweak that should be helpful to you guys as district reps, but a lot of it is going to be business as usual. Agenda, we'll hit the forms and registration. You guys know that's kind of our big main deal. We'll hit some administrative stuff, season timelines, the dates that you guys want to start putting down to know. We'll talk some coaches training. We have the nice little to-do list there. And then just a reminder, as always, Unified Champion Schools is something we're looking to engage more schools in, whole school engagement and youth leadership. Again, if you guys haven't seen the Crofton Bocce video, I'll send it out with this email as well. Great video. Thanks to Tim Stedman. Really appreciate you doing that. And we'll share that so you guys can see some unified stuff. Again, Katie Gleason, new last name. Technically, we're sticking with Katie Gleason, though, for the ease of you guys getting emails to her. She is still our unified tennis chair. Mark's uncle will still be assisting. We'll have him helping with various things throughout the season as well. Again, if you guys don't know me yet, Zach, I've been around for a year. I've made it 8 months plus now, so Barb's pretty happy. I know she joked about that last time I saw her at our tournament. So we're looking for 2 years plus, Barb, I promise. I made you that promise and we're going to stick to it. But this is the crew. Again, you guys know your contacts, but if you need to know contacts for other district reps in other districts, in case you have questions or want to see how they're doing things, this is the tennis crew. As of right now, we do not have any other districts joining tennis that haven't typically done them in the past. There is an anticipation that we may have one new district joining us for the upcoming year, which would be St. Mary's County. But they would be joining for bocce in the spring. So nothing new for tennis as far as people you will be working alongside. Forms and registration. Katie, you want to do the rundown and spiel on forms and registration?
Sure. I mean, it's the same as every year. Just make sure that your student athletes are on the participation to participate. But Zach and I have been talking about other things for forms, but the one thing I'm going to ask is that, and we ran into this with outdoor bocce, when you are submitting or have your team submitting their rosters, please make sure that it's very clear who belongs as an athlete and a partner. We had a lot of coaches that submitted paperwork, but they apparently had highlighted it on their page. And then when it got scanned to us, we couldn't see it. So please just make sure it's very clear what we are working with. We also ran into at outdoor bocce that some coaches that were in LSS were no longer coaching, but we had official names for them. So when you get in touch with your LSS manager or whoever is working in GMS with you, please make sure that they've done a cleanup job and got rid of people who are no longer affiliated with tennis or any of your other sports. So I don't think, Zach, there's anything much more for that part.
Just a note and reminder, the communicable disease waiver that we have you guys, our COVID form essentially, just a reminder that that form for Special Olympics Maryland is a one and done. So if you have a kid that's returning for this school year participating in your programs and they did it last year, they're good to go. The next question is always, Zach, how do I know which one of my kids have already done it? I told Tim and I told the Anne Arundel crew, one of my summer projects is I'm going to go back through whoever participated this year, and I will run a report for everyone that has that CDW already done in GMS, and it will go out to you guys sometime, probably late summer, early August, I would say, before your seasons really start there. So again, remember that the CDW is a one and done, and I will send you a report with people that have already done it.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to address this or?
Yeah, so I mean, again, this you guys know the main forms that we need to have turned in. It's the application of participation and the CDW for student athletes that are participating on the field of play. Athletes, unified partners, IEPs. Again, they all need this. Again, we will continue to remind you that if there is a section in this that gets messed up and there's an issue with, it's the middle section. Again, the gray highlighted boxes in the middle, the long rectangles, you got to make sure you put in there, does that student have a disability? Yes or no? And that's most of the time going to dictate if they've checked off anything in the green column, or the gray column to the left. My colors do work, I promise. The gray column to the left, if they check anything off in there, they're firmly athlete status. If they check off anything in the white box to the right, but don't check anything off in the gray box to the left, they're a unified partner with an IEP. If they don't check off anything in any of those boxes in the 3 columns there, they're a unified partner. Again, athletes can check something off in the gray box and check things off in the white box, but unified partners won't check off anything in those columns, and unified partner IEP will only check off something in the white columns. Again, the rosters, there's nothing that's changed with the rosters. Katie, is there anything that you want to add in particular that you saw with rosters this year that could be helpful going into tennis?
No, just make sure that everything's pretty clear on who belongs to who, and that all coaches and volunteers and team managers are listed. So traditional. Hold on. Barb asked, can we add a column on the team declaration in which coaches can mark athlete or partner? So that should be there.
Yeah.
It's right there. So it should be
disability. So right, we talked about this. So I think it was a conversation I came up with Barb and some of her coaches when I was out at their district tournament. We're going to change this form to reflect in the summer. It's another summer project for me, that instead of disability, yes or no, it's going to have a segmented 3-part column that says like role or team status. That's going to say athlete, unified partner, unified IEP. Because it also came from Cecil County that question came up too. So we will be modifying this roster in that way, because that's the biggest request that we have seen from districts for sure.
Right. And I know we've received an electronic copy of one of the documents from Anne Arundel County that we're going to be sending out and using. So thank you to Brian and Tim for that.
Again, these columns help for LSS managers. Question from Annie from District 1. Will the pairings be athlete / unified partner and unified partner / IEP? There'll be 3 separate columns, Annie. So you can select one of the 3 instead of needing to select from a set of pairings. It's more about identifying that individual more than their role within 2 people on a doubles team when it comes to tennis.
I'm sorry. I'm still confused. I'm so sorry. I guess I was always used to the athlete partner pairing.
Yep.
And so now that it's partner IEP, yep. Like with that partner, I guess I guess I'm getting hung up on that. Would you mind explaining that one more time?
Yeah. No, that's a good question. A lot of the question comes up around the unified partner IEP status. Again, a unified partner IEP is somebody that has a non-intellectual disability. Typically, it's a more of a physical disability. They may be blind, they may be deaf, they may have an ambulatory issue. And so it's somebody that's participating in our programs that has a disability that isn't an intellectual disability. Our athletes firmly have intellectual disabilities. And we also have a floating rule of that unified partner IEPs can either identify by the team as a unified partner or an athlete on the field of play. But that just needs to be designated on your team roster at the beginning of the year. This athlete is a unified partner IEP, and on the field of play, they will be functioning as an athlete alongside a unified partner without any disability, or vice versa. Cool, does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. That helped a lot. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Um,
Go ahead,
Michelle,
Katie.
I was going to say, Michelle was talking about forms for the families. So Michelle, we're not changing the participation or affirmation of eligibility form. We're not changing that. The form we're talking about is just that's going to be given to your coaches.
Yeah, we're just changing the roster to have some more identifiable columns. The disability circle one column is a little ambiguous, and then leaves some room for interpretation and confusion potentially. You may circle one thing and we may perceive it as another thing. So
yeah.
Katie, you want to talk about deadlines? First deadline.
Yep. So I would like to get everything by Monday, September 19th. I will not be coaching next season or in the fall, so I will be a lot more present than I was this past season. So I'm going to be a lot more available now. So I'm expecting everything to be in to me by Monday, September 19th, with a lot of schools going back early. The first day of sports play for the fall is August 10th. It's a Wednesday. So I know a lot of our coaches aren't going to start before the school days start, but that is an option for them if they want to start to get the kids out there just for a practice once a week, just for fun, to get their season underway. That's totally up to coaches, but we are giving that leeway. We gave it last year as well. So I'm just asking that everything be turned into me by Monday, September 19th, error free. I will go through everything, but it makes paperwork go so much more smoothly when everything is double checked, triple checked before given to me. Because I really don't like sending emails back saying, hey, I don't know what this form means or what this word says. So.
That's Katie's favorite thing. She's just kidding. Don't worry. She loves sending emails back.
I really don't. I don't like being the bearer of bad news.
But again, we appreciate you guys. And again, the more tightly we get paperwork in by the deadline, the more flexibility we have to work with you when we do have to potentially kick things back or we have to work things out. So again, we appreciate that. And same thing we talked about all year long for this year, going into next year, communicate. If something comes up, if you guys need a little bit of a stretch for that deadline, we're not gonna, put you under the gun there. As long as you communicate with us, we'll work with you. We'll figure something out. As long as it's not something wild, we have some flexibility. But again, we want to hit deadlines because hitting deadlines makes it easier for us, which in turn makes things easier for you when we're getting into competition season.
Right. And going off of what's on this website or on this page, please, when you submit stuff to me and Zach, mainly pretty much if you submit stuff to Zach, he immediately kicks it to me. So you can CC him, but please send everything to me. When you are sending stuff, please make sure that it's labeled for your district and which school, so that I know, because they're like, for example, with outdoor bocce, we had north space east and then we had northeast. So in two different counties. So it's easier when I know the county and the school. So I know not to put Anne Arundel and Cecil County. I knew how to separate the two. So that's very helpful. And I appreciate if you can do that for me.
Yeah. And when we do our reminder emails before deadlines and stuff like that, we'll put that in there as a reminder too. Again, we know you guys got a lot of things going on. We'll do our best to remind you, but if like Katie said, if you can get things well labeled back to us, there tends to be less confusion. We can sort it easier, we can file it easier, and then there's no confusion when we're figuring out who's on the states of, oh, it was this northeast versus that north space east. Additionally, like Katie said too, best thing to do is if you're sending an email to one of us, just put the other person on it. That makes our life a lot easier. It makes us both see everything. And then it allows us to communicate anything we need to communicate between each other much easier, because then it's not Katie going, Zach, did you see this email? Nope, didn't.
Yeah.
Again, one thing that we've been having you guys do, and I think you guys did a pretty good job with it last year, so I appreciate that, is making sure all the coaches, volunteers, paraprofessionals, anybody that's coming with your team is Class A cleared. This includes team managers for students that are not participating on the field of play, but they're participating as a team manager in some way, shape, or form. Essentially, the main things that need to get done are the protective behaviors training and the background check, and then the CDW form if they're going to state tournament. All these things can be done through our online portal for Volunteer Hub. It's great. You log in, you sign in, and you do it. Again, for your coaches, if they have done this within the past 3 years or they did it last year, they don't have to do it again. This, for us, the protective behaviors and background check is a once every 3-year deal. Again, it's not an annual thing that you have to do. And I know sometimes coaches coming from school systems, because working for athletics in the school systems makes you do a background check, makes you do a COVID form. It seems like double, triple work, and unfortunately it is. But again, organization to organization wise, everybody kind of requires the same thing for risk management purposes. Anything you want to add on non-student athlete?
What?
No,
Yep, Sabrina.
I mean, and I think we can, I was gonna say, I think we can skip through these, especially if our friends here have seen this before. It's just everything about the proactive behaviors training. It's just a step-by-step thing.
Yeah, protective behavior has been very reduced down. It's probably a 20-minute deal at this point. And so it's real quick to get in. If you do, especially through Volunteer Hub, if you go in and do both of these, you can probably knock them both out in 45 minutes, worst case scenario. But again, this just takes you step by step, how to get through it, how to do it, and makes it nice and easy. Again, once you have completed your sign up of Volunteer Hub, you just do the PB training and you do the background check and you call it a day. If you have a student that is a team manager that's 18 or well 17 or younger, they can't sign stuff for themselves. We can't process a background check on them. They're a minor is what it comes down to. There is a minor reference form where they just fill it out and they put 2 references on there. It could be family, it could be teachers, it could be whomever. Again, we just can't run a background check on anyone 17 or younger. LSS manager stuff. We have started reworking a manual. I know I sent out a guide for doing entries and stuff like that, I believe this winter, if not this spring as well. We will float this back out there again as well. LSS managers will need to go in and do their usual thing. Using the rosters, register everyone in there, making sure they're registered for tennis. Unfortunately, tennis is probably the toughest one for LSS managers because we're starting from scratch. New year, everything starts from scratch. Good news is if you have returning coaches and athletes, they're pretty easy to find for your LSS managers and get them popped in. New people, as LSS managers, they know the deal for the most part. They have to add new people. Additionally, along with the guide, if any of your LSS managers want to sit down and do a training again to start the year, I'm more than happy to do that. So when the beginning of the year comes around, preferably we do that stuff sometime in August, potentially when you may be doing, you may have gaps in teacher service sessions in August or whatever may happen for US teachers in August. Let me know, reach out, we can set up a training to do a training again. The biggest thing is the more accurate we are with our GMS entries from our LSS managers, the easier and more accurate we spit things out back to you when it comes to getting ready for the state competition and your district tournaments. Again, we want to make sure we don't have the bocce issue where we ended up with a superfluous amount of credentials of people that weren't even coaches anymore. So please, again, make sure you're double checking your GMS registrations, just like you're double checking your paperwork that you turn in. Again, this is talking about the Class A requirements and registration there. Again, enter your coaches like you do your athletes for LSS managers. Make sure you put them in and register with them with your team and give them that designation of tennis training as well, because that helps us run credentials and helps us do a lot of that stuff as well. Again, if there's a question, if you're ever working in GMS and something comes up and you don't know what's going on, or if your LSS manager has a question, they're doing the same thing, you should all have my number by now. Feel free, shoot me a text, call me. Usually we can troubleshoot GMS stuff pretty quickly. Same thing, non-student athletes, student athletes, get them all into GMS. You can read through the details in here. It's all the same stuff that you guys have seen year in and year out. Katie, you want to talk about some deadlines?
Sure. So like I mentioned, Wednesday, August 10th is when MPSSAA has announced we are allowed to start practicing for fall sports. Because all of our schools are starting at different times. I believe Anne Arundel County is starting August 29th. Everybody's back on the 30th or other way around. So I know like other schools, they have different start dates. So that's why that's not there. The weeks of September 12th through the 16th, please start doing your player assessments. And we have some news about how that's going to be done. By Monday night, by Monday, September 19th, please make sure that you've got all the paperwork into me. So team rosters, applications for participation, communicable disease waivers. And then Monday, October 3rd is when I am asking for the non-student athletes Class A requirements to SMMD. So anybody who is volunteering or everything that we just covered. So, and then also by Monday, October 3rd is when we want the postseason registration forms.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a wiggle for those postseason and the assessments. But again, the recommendation for the weeks, the 12th through the 16th in September, that's when we're hoping you're starting to get assessments rolling. Again, we will also send these slides both in a PDF format for you to review what we talked about tonight. We will send a recording, but we will also send these as a PowerPoint presentation. I know, for example, Barb a lot of the times likes to take some of these slides and just plop them right into her presentation for her coaches as well. So all this will be available and in an editable format as well. A few more.
I was gonna say, got a few more dates for you. So we are asking for everyone to have their district tournaments finished by Friday, October 28th, because we literally turn around and it is our state tournament pre-competition webinar the following week. And then we have our state tournament on either the 8th or the 15th. We're still working with the JTCC to figure that out. They are very excited to have us back this year. We are excited to go back because they're phenomenal and the facility is beautiful and they worked so well for us last year. And we aren't anticipating an inclement weather day because we have access to the indoor court. So we're planning to get it done in one day. It just may take a little bit longer because it's not as many courts as is outside. So.
Yeah, we'll get you a state tournament date as soon as possible. But those are the 2 weeks that we're looking at. We're trying to keep it on a Tuesday still. Additionally, when it comes to coaches resources, we'll be working on the official coaches guide and season guide for you guys. That should be coming in July. Right now we're closing out our program year for SOMD as a whole. We have kids in Orlando for USA games and then summer games next week. So hopefully after that we will work to get you that guide. Linked here is the unified tennis folder that we've started for 2022. We put everything in there, but I'm going to re-update the website that we started using last year too. And I will send a link for that with the follow-up email as well. Again, strongly recommend going to the website because that's where we're going to post everything. And it's a lot easier to get everything in a one-stop shop at the website. Plus, then you don't have to worry about Google where sometimes you need to request access and all those kind of things. Website, you go there, click a link, download stuff, you're good to go. But again, we're really hoping for July to get stuff in. And I'm not going to go over the clarification on individual skills competition. This is something I think for the most part, I think we really got sorted out last year. We didn't have any skills. But again, they're part of your team. They're not just an auxiliary group that goes alongside of your team. When you get spots for your team to advance to states, they're part of that allocation. So again, just a reminder on that while we're here. Again, additionally, on the coach resource page for tennis, there's other resources that'll be available. Quick reference guide for Special Olympics. They'll have the Special Olympics International Tennis Coaches Guide, all sorts of stuff. You know, our rule sets that we use, everything will be on there. And if there's something that you need that you don't see on there, please let me know. And we will get it up there because you're probably not the only one asking as well. Another thing, we are going to do new posters. I've heard from some districts that posters will be a good way to go again. Some districts have shifted to digital spaces for pushing information to students and parents and stuff like that. And I've heard that students just don't care or look in the digital spaces or application that they're using. So we're going to go back to doing posters. By the beginning of your fall season, whatever sports that you offer from Unified Sports at Special Olympics, you will have posters for your schools. I'm hoping to get at least probably like 3 to 5 posters to you for each of your schools. So again, if you do 3 sports with us, you do a sport each season, you'll get one for each sport. If you do 2 sports with us, you'll get 2, so on and so forth. Anybody have any questions or input when it comes to posters of resources needed, even if it's not posters? Okay, that's cool. Assessments. This is probably the big note for this year. Starting with this fall, we're going to be implementing USTA-driven assessments. Essentially what this means is we're going to put together a refresher video webinar similar to this on for district reps. You guys are still going to set up your assessment days, and you're going to set up the day and the location and getting your students there, making sure they have buses and so on and so forth. We are going to recruit a whole mess of USTA volunteers that are all USTA players that are going to come in and actually do the assessments for you. I've had conversations. I think the one tricky spot with assessments, regardless of who's doing them, is they're perception based. But having people that are all pure tennis players that know the assessment system and are trained across the board on the same assessment system, we're hoping that a third party-ish group will make the assessments a little bit cleaner and closer. Again, we have 1 or 2 issues with variance on assessment when it came to the state tournament, and we're looking to clean that up. We also do recognize the needs for a number of USTA volunteers to do assessments. For Tim and Brian Lehman and Anna Rundle, they're going to need a whole mess more than Annie and Roy up there in Allegheny Garrett. Again, it's one of those things where we recognize those differences and we're already planning for those differences based on size of schools, number of participants, so on and so forth. And again, we will still have you guys as district reps. The assessors from USTA will do the assessments. They'll turn them into you. You'll turn the full team assessments into us. Coaches will turn in team assessments through our normal process. Questions on this initial game plan for assessments?
And one of the reasons also is just to help even the playing field, because we had there's been some discrepancies. So this is what Zach and I have been talking about throughout the year to try and even the playing field for everybody.
Yeah, and hopefully additionally, this will also, we send our dates and locations directly to you. Yeah, if you can email them to me and Katie, that'd be great. That the sooner we know, the better. The sooner we know your dates and locations, the sooner we can recruit volunteers for that area specifically. But again, like I was saying, I think it's also hopefully going to be helpful to take a little bit off of your plate as district reps when it comes to the assessment of you just having to have the date, time, location, and get the kids there. Facilitation of actually doing the assessments should make you a little bit more flexible during that day. General coaches training stuff. So again, we would like you guys to come out of this, take the information that we've given you, and have at least some sort of little training for your coaches that you anticipate will be your coaches in the fall. Get them at least the dates and information and the basic stuff before they leave school. So the information's out there and they're not coming back in August and horrified knowing that dates are coming a month and a half away from when they get back. Again, it can be really, really short, quick, and fresh. If you want to send it all on an email to your people to close out the year, that's fine too. I am not a person that believes in meeting for the sake of meeting. If you feel good about putting it in an email and that your people will read it and really take it to heart before we close out the year, do it. Send an email, save yourself time. With that said, when it comes to starting up for the fall, we do want you to hold your in-person coaches trainings as usual. Usually you guys just do it during your fall, varsity sports in-service day that you guys do anyway. That's perfectly fine with me. I know Anne Arundel already has their set up for August 8th, which is awesome. And additionally, the sooner we know when you guys have yours planned, the sooner we can also come out and help facilitate. The sooner I can talk to Jeff Abel about coming out and helping. And then, the sooner we can get the USTA folks on board. Some of them even want to come out and potentially get to know you and your teams to be a resource for you as well. Again, the sooner you have dates for a coaches training in August, the sooner we can support you with resources and people as well. Again, one thing that also came up when I was talking to Tim and the Anne Arundel crew is they had questions on more education and support for adaptive tennis. Athletes that have CP, how do we get them holding a racket and using a racket a little bit better and a little bit more comfortably for them? Athletes with ambulatory issues. I think a lot of the times we just think about the athletes that play traditional red, orange, yellow, green ball tennis. And so even helping some of them with some adaptive stuff. So we'll look to incorporate more of that into our coaches trainings as well, because that's also going to help us grow the game and get more kids in that potentially may have thought they weren't, eligible for this based on different disabilities. Again, this is kind of just a checklist of what to knock out in that the email and or get together you have before you close the year. Registration process, remind them about the forms, remind them about due dates, give them the season timeline, get that stuff in their hands early. Recruitment strategies, which are later on in the webinar, but you guys know what your recruitment strategies are. What works best for your schools. What works best in Baltimore City may not work best in St. Mary's. Again, you guys know your schools well enough. Work together on that. Again, talk about your season plans, talk about at-home training to get your kids started up through the season, but pass along information now before school ends so that, again, when they come in back in August for coaches and teachers, they're not super surprised. Additionally, we've gotten a good amount of people going through this Coaching Unified Sports course. We would love the dream is one day to get everybody taking this course. It's a great unified sports coaching course. And so it takes probably about, I think if it takes you an hour and 15 minutes, that's on the long side. I think you can probably get it done in about 45 minutes. It's video training. It's from NFHS. It's a really good training. We are strongly encouraging you guys to take this course and pass it on to your coaches to take on this course as well. I know our friends in Baltimore City are making this a requirement for their coaches. Because they really want to take that next step in getting their coaches educated in unified sports and unified champion schools overall. So again, this link is continuously live, and we do get an Excel spreadsheet at the end of every month of people that have completed this. So if you have completed it, we will get it straight from Special Olympics North America. Assessment training, again, as I mentioned, we will be creating an online video training that you can take at your leisure as a district rep. We are going to try to get that put together and ready in July so you can access it whenever you want in August. It's going to be a short reminder video on how to put together an assessment, what the pieces are you need for an assessment. So when those USTA people come in to do your assessment, everything's ready to go. Most of you have been around for a while. Most of you have been running assessments forever. It's probably going to be a good refresher more than anything, because you guys know what your process is, you know what your plan is. Just want to refresh people, also want to create a living, breathing training that will continue to evolve with us when new people come on as well. Again, if you have any questions after the video, reach out to us, connect with us. We will be having conversations and doing stuff all summer long, just while the school year ends. That doesn't mean we're stopping doing stuff. So we're going to keep working on making things better for you. But again, that should be coming July, early August. COMAR regulations. I'm not going to go through the COMAR regulation stuff. I think you guys know it. If you want to come back and read up on it, feel free. COMAR regulations, as far as I know, have not changed. And I don't think they're going to change anytime soon. Katie, do you want to cover the to-do list? Because I know you talk through a lot of this stuff in your weekly meetings too.
Right. So just make sure you're contacting your supervisor of athletics or the ADs and just figuring out if your coaches are staying or if they're going. Right now, with a lot of transitioning going on, I would totally do that and get in touch with your coaches and see who's planning to stay and who's planning to go. I know my AD, for example, was not expecting me to resign this morning, but I'm going to a different school next year and it's just not going to work out with times. Make sure that you are setting regular season playing schedules with everybody and your district tournament dates and locations. With everything kind of getting back up and running, you should be able to find and get this information soon, fingers crossed. I think Michelle Hill mentioned last year at this time that she had already had it under lock and key. So I'm assuming she has it again. If you know of anybody who needs equipment or is going to need uniforms or are not sure, I would definitely reach out to your current coaches and ask them what's going on, if they need anything, so that we can get that in place for next year. If there is a coaching vacancy, please just work with that AD to make sure that it gets posted so that somebody can get hired. And before June 17th, I know some schools are already going on summer vacation. I'm very jealous. Make sure you schedule and advertise district specific coaches webinar briefing. So that's just what we've been talking about with the email that Zach was saying. I think that's fine. An email I call them email meetings, just to get the information out. And then that's hosting the information. If you need me to show up during any of this, please let me know. I'm not doing anything at the moment. So if you need me to come just to help support you when you're doing your coaches meeting, I have no problem doing that. Just let me know. So. Oh, yeah, and Zach's happy to attend as well. So also, make sure the IUS application is in the LSS sports packet or made available with any other varsity sports forms. It sounds like Michelle's got hers together. I know a lot of our friends here have done this. The one thing, I'm not sure if the testing calendar is up yet for the fall, but the one thing we're going to ask is that please check in with your testing coordinators or with somebody in the county. They may not, or your county, they may not know right now, but definitely in August, September, they will know what the testing calendar looks like, to let us know what dates there are for testing, so that we know during these time frames when we can schedule the state tournament and county tournaments, because we want to make sure we can get to them. And you're actually going to send that to Mark. You're not going to send that to me. We're going to let Mr. Sunkel have a little bit of control over this. So be on the lookout for emails from him. Make sure you schedule and announce when you're going to have your in-person meeting in August. Let us know so that we can get that taken care of, as mentioned. And season plan if when school and sports resume in the fall. So this is a little bit from last year, but I mean, when things get up and running, make sure you got your season match schedules all set. Any transportation requirements. I know buses right now is a nightmare for pretty much every county, and I know it's a nationwide issue. So I would start to get your matches at least penciled in so that you could get transportation kind of already set, so that coaches aren't necessarily scrambling, or ADs, or work with the ADs to get that all taken care of. Make sure you schedule your player assessment sessions. So let us know the sooner the better so that we can get everybody all taken care of. And if you have not done so, make sure to schedule your district tournament. And then go ahead and distribute a coach's contact list. So this is, you can do this now, but if you know a coach is not coming back, clearly don't add them to your list. But then this way, if a coach over the summer has a question, they know who to contact. I would definitely disseminate this information in the fall when you come back so that coaches have information, so that in case, for example, a bus is not on time, that coach can call the other coach and is like, yo, my bus is not coming, or we don't know what's going on. Please don't think we are abandoned on the side of the road somewhere.
Yeah,
That actually happened. That happened during regular varsity tennis season for me.
Yeah, and additionally, if and when you do get your coach's contact list, if you could share that with us, that would be great. Last year we worked off of updated list that we had, but it wasn't always the most modern, which made contact with coaches occasionally, especially once we got to the state tournament time, a little difficult. We had to do a little bit of backtracking and digging for information. So again, once you have your updated coach's contact list, please share that with us. Uniforms, nothing's changed with uniforms. Again, team name, just make sure it has that Unified Sports pill lozenge logo on it. Additionally, I didn't grab any with me. We have ordered that lozenge logo in patches. So if you have a school that is coming back in the loop, or is a year or two out from getting new uniforms, and they need to just put a patch on uniforms, that is something that's available as well. We can also order them for you, and then you guys just reimburse us, or we can connect you with our distributor and you can order them as well. They're really good to us, and they take care of us, so the prices are good. But again, make sure your teams have uniforms. Again, if you need uniforms and or equipment, one, talk to your athletic director or your supervisor of athletics. If for some reason they don't have the money in the budget, there's an issue, whatever may be going on, then reach out to me. Again, have that conversation with your people in athletics first internally, and then come to me and let's talk. But also make sure you're having that in a timely manner. If you guys are having issues with uniforms and you don't have that conversation until a week and a half before state tournament, things are going to be tight for trying to help you guys out with uniforms on my end for sure. So again, have those conversations in a timely manner so we can get you guys taken care of. Look ahead for admin stuff. Katie, do you want to talk about the weekly conversations?
Sure. So I'm going to definitely be bringing this back into more, what do I want to, how do I want to, I'm going to be doing this a lot more this coming season, because we're going to have time, and it's not the whole crazy pre or post COVID situation. We're kind of back to a little bit of semblance of normalcy. So I'm going to be reaching out. I'm probably going to send emails, text messages. If you want a phone call, I can do phone calls. I'm going to definitely do what I've done in the past and set up like a weekly time that I will be at least reaching out to you. But please don't hesitate to reach out to me if there's something before that phone call. I actually had a lot of success with text messages, just saying, hey, how are things going? Person responds, great. Do you need anything from me? Nope. All right, cool. Catch it. I'll check in with you next week. That seemed to have been the most effective way to get everything together. So then this way we're not having to worry about sitting down, finding a time to talk and all of this. So I'm probably going to end up texting. And I'm still keeping the 315 number. So you'll get a random number from New York State, Syracuse, actually. So that's me.
Yeah, no, again, I just want to communicate again that our big theme of this past year, and will continue to be our theme, is communication. The more we communicate, the more we connect with one of each other. Again, don't be afraid to ask for help or ask questions and stuff too. I'd rather you ask them early and we get them resolved than us finally pester you, as we're coming up to deadlines and stuff. and Katie's riding you and I'm giving you phone calls of trying to get information for you, don't be scared. I'm going to say there's nothing you can do that will throw us off the edge. There could be, we'll see. But no, communicate with us. We're more than happy to help you guys. We're more than happy to take extra steps to support you guys. That's what we're here for. Again, you guys do such a fantastic job, supporting your schools and your students that we recognize you guys need help too. That's always going to be the process. We're always going to have your back. We're always going to support you. But please do connect with Katie, even if it is just a simple text of saying, nope, I'm good. That puts us at peace of mind that you guys are in good shape. Additionally, going back to the equipment thing that I forgot to mention, if you need assistance with tennis specific equipment, the main thing that we always help you guys out with are tennis balls for your district tournaments. If you come across that you need assistance with rackets for new students or whatever it may be, reach out to us, especially with our connection with USTA. There's a lot of grants and stuff that they have that we potentially to apply for to help you guys with stuff. I don't know if they still do it, but at one point they used to do a whole package that they would send to you of multicolored tennis balls, a dozen rackets or so like that, all in a big bag that you could put everything into, and it was awesome. So again, if you need help with resources, just reach out and communicate sooner rather than later, and we'll do our absolute best to get you guys taken care of. Anything else you want to talk about with the communication stuff, Katie?
No, I think we covered it all.
And with that said, that's it. That's the slideshow, folks. Again, short, sweet, and simple. Nothing is really crazily changing for this tennis season at this time. The one thing will be the assessments, but I think the change for that will be good and it'll help you guys. And again, like Katie said, it'll create a little bit more competitive balance, hopefully, that a UTSA group is handling that. Other than that, we're looking at tennis as usual. We will have a district rep end of year meeting on Thursday. I will resend the link for everyone for that tomorrow. If you could join us on Thursday, that would be awesome. We're going to debrief some stuff. And additionally, we are going to cover some new things that may be evolving for the upcoming, maybe not next season, but the season after. So again, if you can join us on Thursday, that would be excellent. Other than that, we will take questions if you have tennis questions before we close this one out.
So this is a dumb question, and you might not be able to answer this. I thought I was attending this meeting as a unified tennis coach, and I'm realizing that this is for, district reps. And so I kind of texted Roy during this meeting, like, I don't know, do you need me to handle this, or I thought you were the district rep? So, I mean, I'm trying to text him information from the meeting and keep this information in my brain and that type of thing. I mean, I can certainly do it if you need someone to do it, but I just wanted you to know that I think he was still going to be the district rep, but I'm not. Okay.
Yeah. No, I talked to Roy. I know Roy had something going on tonight, but that's why I was excited to see that you were joining us. I was like, all right, Annie's here, so we're covered. No, so you're right.
Well, a lot of this is very good information for me as a coach, and so
yes.
This is very good review. But okay, I just wanted to throw that out there. Just
yeah, no. Roy's good. Again, Roy just couldn't make it tonight, but I appreciate you being on, Annie.
Absolutely.
Other questions, comments, concern as far as tennis goes? Nope. All right. Silence is beautiful. I will take it, and I will give you guys 10 minutes back of your Tuesday evening. Before we do, though, again, I cannot thank all you guys enough for everything that you did this year. I know we're closing out a year that was chaotic, that was tough, that was quite honestly pretty backbreaking at times. The schools were hit hard by COVID and stuff. But I think we're all starting to assimilate and find a sense of what new normal is. I know Michelle Hill and I had a great conversation at one point about that as well. But you guys have done a fantastic job being that buffer for your students and your coaches as well. Without you guys taking some of the beatings, you know, working on some of the tough things and just, you know, putting on that smile every single day. None of this happens. It just doesn't happen whatsoever without your coaches. It doesn't happen. And again, the opportunities and experiences you provided for your students this year were just unbelievable. Again, I was so excited and so happy to see everyone out of bocce and track and field. The kids were so excited and the teachers were so excited. The law enforcement were so excited. People were just so happy to be back out. And that's because of all the hard work that you guys do and the support that you give all of your schools and all your students on a daily basis. I know, you know, some people may think the unified sports thing in our districts isn't a huge commitment or it doesn't take time or whatever. They don't know. You guys put in a ton of work to make this happen for your kids and to make it the unbelievable experience it is. So again, I cannot thank you guys enough. I know Katie cannot thank you guys enough. Mike Sarnowski, Jim Smuts, Jeff Abel, all of the people on our team, we cannot thank you guys enough for everything you do. And we're so excited to see you guys again next season. But until then, enjoy your summer, take a nice vacation, bring me back some souvenirs if you want to butter me up a little bit. And I will see you guys hopefully some point this summer. If not, I'll see you early next fall. So enjoy your summer and I'll see you all then.